Perfect. Great. Hey, Kedar, I hope you're doing good. So thank you so much for joining me today. So to give everybody a quick update, Kedar is working as a product manager at Oracle, and he carries an experience over 8 years. And today he is going to help us on how did he manage to crack product management, what are his learnings, and what he has to say to all of us who are aspiring to become product managers here. So, Kedar, do you want to take over and explain us your journey so far, your career journey?
Yeah. First of all, thanks a lot for hosting me, Arlene.
My
I
pleasure.
personally find this a great initiative. So, let me talk about my stint in product management. To be in fair honesty, I guess I was lucky that I got into product management. I'm a B2B product manager, and I did not get recruited as product manager straight from my uh, campus recruitment.
Sure.
Before product management, I've done multiple roles. I actually did data analysis. I was reporting to a. I was acting like an executive assistant for some time.
Sure.
I worked as an IT consultant. I worked in some pre-sales. So, in a hindsight, I think I was lucky to be associated in all these roles. And when I got into product management, I did not know what is product management. Like I said, I was lucky, so I did not know. Okay, there is certain framework that you have to apply. I did not know all of this. All I learned was during the job. So all these individual jobs that have done in the past, they were very helpful. Again, I mentioned doing data analysis, right? As a PM, you are expected to do data analysis. You need to have that critical reasoning. My earlier job taught me that, and my job as a consultant and pre-sales helped me understand and helped me empathize with certain people groups and stakeholders, and that was helpful in product management. So, and after becoming a product manager, there's no set right or outright clear cut definition that
True.
you can find in the textbook. What How do you define as, if you ask me, how do you define as a product manager? Every company has its own definition. So it's up to you, how do you perceive it, and it's up to your organization how what is expected from
True that. Absolutely. So you are a product manager by accident.
you.
I
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to say that for myself too. But
Yeah,
yes,
it's a happy accident, no?
it is definitely a happy accident. Great. So, a follow up question to what you just mentioned, since all your career roles were very different, and you mentioned that they have basically prepared you to become a good product manager, which I'm pretty sure you are at this moment. So, one such example which made you think, no, this, I think I'm ready for product management. Do you have any such kick?
Well, before getting into this product management space, I never thought I was ready for a product manager. I never knew what was that role,
So that
to be honest.
we accidentally
I
keep doing
mean,
things and we don't know we
yeah.
are doing for it. Yes.
So, so when I was working with TCS, I thought I would become some IT consultant just like everyone. So I was working with consultants over there. But incidentally, I mean, again, luckily, I worked with one guy who taught me how to he basically explained me like it was a framework. So we
Mhm.
were working with one of the customers on a consulting assignment, and
Sure.
the framework or the PPT exercise that we did to pitch our solution was no different than a typical framework like circles that you might be knowing, or any other framework that you use in a product management interview. It was not different from that.
Sure.
So, if you ask me, where did I get that kick? I never got that kick. I got that kick after joining product management. After joining Oracle, and after working as a product manager, and after understanding from my boss, okay, this is what means. Or I'm still learning, but this is what means. Or what is expected from a product manager. I started to get that kick, and now if you want me to switch to IT consulting, I'll never do that.
Absolutely. So so I would rather want to frame it that you got a right direction by talking to your colleagues, and then you realize that uh, this is what you've been doing, and you have a name for that
Exactly.
role.
Yeah, exactly.
True. So this was your big breakthrough moment, basically, to product management, and
Right.
I guess since then there is no looking back.
Right, right. I mean, when I started out in 2015, so this role was not hyped up. They were product managers. If you look at LinkedIn, you will see product managers of 20 year, 30, 10 year,
Experience.
15 year experience. But it was not a hyped up role, so you don't read about it.
True that.
Back then, data science and analytics were hyped up. So you read about them, you invest your you want to invest in them. So
True.
right now, it's a pretty hyped up role. Everyone talks about it. So it's very information is very accessible now because like you mentioned, I had to put a name to this role that I was doing, but right now people don't need to do that. They have a clear cut clarity. If they want
Right.
to become a product manager, you clearly know what you have to do. There are ample
Correct.
number of posts, mentors, influencers,
Correct.
content. Everything is available for free.
Correct. But just by having the content doesn't work, right? We really need to know how
Exactly.
to position those contents and then drive our own experience or enthusiasm towards that way. So, a follow up
Indeed.
question to what you just said. What do you think are what do you think an aspiring product managers should, what are the qualities basically do you think they should have? Or they should basically hone those qualities? What do you think? Just a few qualities.
See, first and foremost, I think you have to develop some sense of curiosity. You need to be curious because ultimately, see, I've personally seen product managers or business analysts getting obsessed with the solution. And in fact, I was also one of them when I started out. And when you get obsessed with the solution, you don't or let's say it's good if you're having a solution oriented mind, but what you need to develop is a bit of curiosity. You need to ask, you need to question everything. And again, like I mentioned, you need to appreciate whatever role you're doing, whatever your aspiration is, try to appreciate that. And if you're not really liking it, you have to quit. That's a different story altogether.
True.
But try to appreciate what you're doing, and try to put a question for that. Anything that you want to do, ask why. And this is something I was lucky enough that I had right people teach me. And once I learned the essence of why, I always started to ask. I always started to reason, even though I was not doing strategy, high level, a very senior level strategy, right when I started out. But the essence of asking why is what created a difference for me.
That is true. So,
And
just a few questions out of curiosity, right? Because you just
sure,
mentioned we
sure,
need to
sure.
ask why, correct?
Yeah.
So, do you think this is basically a question that a lot of us have in mind, and many people have this myth that product managers or business analysts just do this? That do you think writing specs or basically just going getting requirements and just putting it on whatever requirement portal you have, is that the only job of a product manager, or do we have more to it? I know the answer, but I want to hear it from you.
Okay. See, writing specs is how you communicate. Writing specs or making a PPT is how you communicate. And typically, so let me tell you this: when I started out, I was working with Excels and PPTs, right?
Mhm.
People used to say, "Hey, that guy is a PPT guy. If there's anything doubt in presentation or English, go ask
Reach
him."
out to him.
This is
Correct.
a common perception. It's good, definitely. They want to talk about you like that. It's very good. Keep that in mind. That you are a go-to guy. See, product managers are perceived in different ways. So each person, be a developer or a QA engineer or a documentation guy or UX guy, they perceive people in a very different way, and how you perceive yourself is much more should be much more different. And
Correct.
that's where we talk about imposter syndrome and all. I'm not going to touch upon those, but
That's a huge topic altogether.
yeah, that's a huge topic. Uh, but yeah, let me ask you. I'll just tell you
Sure,
this
sure.
question. So there is one particular feature. So there is an app called SunNext.
Mhm.
It's a OTT app.
Okay.
So I'll give you two instances for how I think and how a typical business analyst or writing documentation guy thinks.
Sure.
So when an OTT, so when you log into this OTT app, if the number
Mhm.
of devices have exceeded a particular limit, so what is the best approach? I'm just asking this as a question.
Sure.
What do you think is the best approach to a best user experience that you can provide a user without denying him an access or without denying him to log in? And at the same time, I need not to answer this, just ask yourself this. So if you are able to reason this, or probably you can cover this in the next topic or let people comment on this.
Yes.
So, and if you're able to figure out a right answer, there's no
There's no
right or
right
wrong
answer.
answer to this, but try to put this question at the back of your mind and think from a perspective, and then you can answer for yourself whether you're just a documentation guy or you're doing some critical thinking before you put something in the document.
True that. So
And
yes.
remember that, yeah, specs writing is part of your job and it doesn't go away. How are you going to express to other stakeholders? You need to deliver something, right? You cannot go on talking. You have to deliver something.
So
Yeah,
it's not our only job. It's just a small part of our job. There is much more that
exactly.
happens in the back end, for sure. And I just want to give a stab at your question there because I just faced this issue with another OTT platform, which did not let
Yeah,
me sign in because there were those device restrictions. If I were the
yeah,
product manager of it, I would be like, go in the back end, check which device I'm not using, sign that off, and then let me sign in from the current device that I'm using. So that
yeah.
would
That's
be
an
my
approach.
approach towards it. But yes, you're right. It's not just talking to stakeholders and getting the requirements because that I feel anybody could do, but it's more that we as product managers suggest or pitch in something. We should give them a different point of view to a situation, and they probably will start thinking in this direction. So
Exactly.
that's what I think we all do, but yeah, like the underdog hidden somewhere, not too much into light. Great. Uh,
Exactly.
one more question. Do you
Sure,
think
sure.
should product managers take a decision uh, on what customers need?
Well, okay. Um, Let me ask you this. This is one of the okay. This is one of the questions my friend has got.
Sure.
So even he's a B2B product manager.
Great.
So one of his customers, or let's say, yeah, one of his customers asked for a dark mode,
Mm-hmm.
and one of his customers asked for performance improvements. And considering his bandwidth is free, what do you think he has to approach? I mean, you have 1 quarter to, or let's say you have 1 week to deliver both of them, and both of them individually take 5 or 6 working days. So what do you think he has to prioritize? It's a decision making question, and it's pretty straightforward, right? So you know the answer. I
Yes.
mean, you want to focus on dark mode, white mode for a typical B2B app. Probably not. You want to improve on performance, then get into aesthetic appeal if you have enough bandwidth.
Sure.
So, like this is something what people say to people. Everything, everyone will say everything, and people will ask if they are paying money. They'll definitely keep on asking you everything. But ultimately, you as a product manager you're going to decide what is important to your product. It's like people say many things. Let's say you have a kid and people are going to come and say, hey, usko doctor bana do, usko police bana do, engineer bana do. You don't care, right? It's
Correct.
ultimately you look at your kid and you understand what's good for him. You want to make him a cricketer, probably you'll ask him and make him do that. So product is again a brainchild of product manager. You take the same responsibility towards it.
Absolutely. So I also feel, just to add up to your answer, yes, we have to listen to what people who are paying us to do some things. Definitely, we need to listen to them. But I feel it becomes a very important responsibility of a product manager to challenge those things. Just because somebody is saying you have to do that, you don't need to do that, because there are a lot of instances when clients basically come back to you and say like, I thought this is going to give a different output, but this is what it is. Why did you not warn me in the beginning that this is the output, right? So I feel we challenging is going to be a very crucial responsibility. We need to be comfortable challenging things.
Right. And again, ask why. And the question that you raised, are you going to just document client's requirement, or
Correct.
are you going to work on that and then document it?
Correct.
That's
Absolutely.
the
And one last question, and then maybe I'll want
sure.
to you to give certain tips for all the aspiring people on to how should they approach this product management or product managers, because we have different flavors in it again, right? So my last question to you is, what according to you should be, like, say for example, now you're a product manager and then you have multiple other product managers, right? You, what do you think, should there be a meet of product managers within the organization, or do you think there should be a community meet that we people should basically approach with all our problems? Do you think that's a good idea to have all in all as a community? Because I feel in my experience of people whom I know, we just get confined to our project or product, whatever we are dealing with, and we are not open to that spectrum as of yet, that okay, we don't need to name the product, but there's a problem, right? Why don't you go and tell to people who have same mindset as you do? Maybe they will come up with different solutions that we must have never thought as well. What do you think of this kind of idea?
Okay. I'll talk from my experience again.
Sure.
At Oracle, I work with a platform product,
Mm-hmm.
and which involves. So let's say if we are developing a feature, it involves other development teams to uptake it. Now, if we work in silos, we would have not never got any feedback, or we would have delivered something and people don't use it. People might not have used it at all.
Interest. Correct.
So, like you mentioned, you either create a community or create some sort of recurring calls where you interact on a daily basis, validate whatever you're working with. Socialize that with other stakeholders who need to probably consider this, or who can probably build on top of this, or who can realign their roadmap based on what
Mm-hmm.
you're delivering. You get feedback, and you don't honestly, you don't waste your time. If there's something people don't want, or if there's something people want, you can reprioritize your backlog itself.
Right.
So it's a very essential if you're working on a product that involves other products or other stakeholders. It's very essential that you socialize among these folks
Mm-hmm.
and try to have a regular conversation.
Right. And it need not be just your people, like product managers. It could be a developer, it could be a QA as well within your team. Because
Anyone. I mean,
okay,
developers are going to develop that, product managers are going to work on that,
want that.
QA is going to test that. So anyone.
Right, because every individual will have a different perspective, which
Exactly.
definitely I feel is useful perspective, because at some of the other stage, even your people might be the end users of your product. You never know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Perfect. So with this, I just want to ask a concluding question. What are the few tips that you think has been super successful for you that you would want to share with all the viewers?
Uh, well, first thing, for any product manager or any individual,
Mm-hmm.
ask critical thinking. Being curious and critical thinking are very essential.
Right.
And see, it's very easy to say, find a mentor, find a good mentor, follow them. I was lucky enough to have three mentors in Oracle. They were my managers,
Mm-hmm.
and I learned a hell lot from them. So
True.
this concept of asking why, and this is something I've learned from them itself. I'm just reiterating what I've learned. So first of all, ask why. Second, work on your communication skills. So let's say tomorrow, if you're going to work with your developer, um, you need to communicate him in a very different way than how you communicate with your customers. So
Yes.
develop some sort of an empathy. You have to empathize with any person whom you're talking to. And finally, um, try to see, I mean, you just keep on applying to jobs. Never get disheartened. If you're losing out
True.
in an interview, never get disheartened. Try to improve yourself, and read a lot. Read a lot. I mean, there are ample questionnaires and ample number of mock interview questions where you can develop your own understanding. And trust me, never go by the answers that have been listed there.
Correct.
And try to learn frameworks. But I honestly, I mean, I have written a separate blog on frameworks, so everyone can develop their own
Please.
framework.
Sure.
So
We will share the
yeah,
link.
yeah, sure, sure. So every framework talks about only one thing, that it says empathize with your customer pain point and customer journey, identify the best pain points, identify the best solutions, prioritize them. So this is the essence of any framework.
Yeah.
Frameworks are supposed to articulate your analysis and your delivery. So you can develop your own framework is what my personal opinion is.
True that.
But yeah, the day you develop your asking why, the curiousness part, your critical thinking, and your communication skills, I think they are the best skills that you have as a product manager. Other things you learn on job.
That
Whatever
is
you're
true.
doing now, you can appreciate it. Yeah,
Absolutely. I feel most of the learning happens on job.
on the
How much
job.
how
Yeah,
much ever books you read, how many ever articles you read or videos you watch.
you will
Uh,
forget it.
you definitely, because it's our experience that is talking, and only and only when you practically do it is when it stays forever.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So here I would want to thank you, Kedar. It was amazing talking to you. Your experience definitely talks volumes, and I hope it is going to help everybody who's going to watch this video. And I will share the link to your article so that it's useful for everybody, and I will also try to make use of it for sure.
Definitely,
Great,
Ali. Thanks
Kedar.
a lot. My
Thank you.
pleasure. My pleasure,
Thank you
Ali.
so much, Kedar. And
Thank you.